To me, sustainability means using resources in a way that guarantees that those same resources are available again for future use. It basically means having the smallest environmental impact possible and leaving the earth the same or better than how you initially found it.
Sustainability to me is really living in a way so that not just our children, but the generations following are able to thrive.
It's about making sure that future generations are able to have a better life than we do today.
And on a broader scale, we not only want to conserve natural resources for our own benefit, but we also want to protect and coexist with all of the other species on this planet.
There are a lot of ways to take action, some big and some small, some of which are better suited to certain circumstances. For example, at home, I compost. My family has a solar hot water heater, and we use solar panels to get our electricity.
I'm a big believer in the small things adding up. Things like unplugging chargers, turning off lights, or bringing my own reusable utensils or water bottle are all part of my daily life.
But it also means asking myself the question whenever I'm about to buy something, do I need this new item? Could I get it used somewhere?
Finally, more recently, I started doing more vegetarian meals, having a more plant-based diet, a less meat-based diet.
Talking about sustainability can be difficult.
For example, when I turn down a plastic straw at a restaurant, I often receive scoffs or remarks like, that one straw isn't going to save the turtles, one straw isn't going to solve the climate crisis. And yes, one small action on my part isn't going to change much, but it still makes a small change.
The whole thing about sustainability is it's a conversation that we just need to keep having with more and more people every single day, because that's how we're going to advance this conversation. It's going to become a philosophy.
So how do I talk to someone about sustainability? So primarily, I think about the fact that it's not just important to think about the facts of climate change and sustainability. Of course, those are important, but that's not the only thing we need to consider. We have to think about why and which facts are important to which people.
Another thing that I think is important is including personal statements, such as stories or anecdotes, because it's a lot harder to dispute with someone's feelings than a fact that they might not believe in. I read a book recently about racism and prejudice in America, and the author brought up a nice story about a beach that was covered in starfish after the storm. A young girl saw the starfish and started tossing them back into the sea. An old man came up to her and asked, "Why are you doing this? There are thousands of starfish on the beach. You cannot possibly hope to make a difference." Rather than giving up, though, the girl picked up another starfish and tossed it back into the sea, exclaiming, "I made a difference to that one." Inspired, the old man started to help the girl, and soon hundreds of people were helping return the starfish to the sea. Eventually, all of the starfish were saved, proving that with small individual actions and collaboration, we truly can make a difference.
What's key in discussing sustainability is connecting the environmental action to people's lives. Because too often environmentalism is seen as an elite activity, something that people may not have time for, but also something that doesn't necessarily connect to human society. In actuality, like we as EcoReps know that being sustainable is inherently closely linked to having a more just and equitable society. One of my favorite examples about this is trying to get people to recycle more, because recycling, not only has environmental benefits by reducing carbon emissions, energy used, materials used, but it also has social and economic benefits like reducing the amount of waste that is sent to toxic trash incinerators, which in the US are typically cited in low-income, minority heavy communities these incinerators result in toxic emissions in these communities. And so they're a huge environmental justice issue. And by sending more of our waste streams to get recycled or composted or just diverted instead, we can reduce our need for toxic incinerators or for landfills, and thus reduce the social harms that can come from those facilities.
I think the first general step towards sustainability is understanding what makes something sustainable, looking into how you personally can engage in more sustainable practices, and then working to actively engage in those practices, as well as encouraging others to follow your example.
Because every time a new person learns about sustainability, learns about the impacts of climate change, and is motivated to take action in their life, that's another member of the fight, you know? Another person that can call their local congressman, or another person just to spread the message, spread the news. Climate change is here and we have to fight it. We have to make sure the future is sustainable.